In this lesson, we'll begin setting up our helpers to follow the movements of the mouth. So here's how this is going to work. What we'll do is we'll create a plane for each helper. Then we'll go ahead and scan each plane between the head bone and jaw. And what's great is that we then have just a few points to wait. Once we're done waiting, we'll notice that as the jaw opens and as it closes, we'll get deformations in those planes. We can then go ahead and constrain each helper to those surfaces. So as the surface starts to deform, we'll get sliding in each helper. And then when we wait to those helpers, we'll then realize that, hey, now we're starting to get some very natural looking deformations in the mouth. And what's great is, again, we've made sure to link each of those envelope objects to those helpers that will get constrained. So as we start to kind of move each of these envelope objects, we'll be able to drive those deformations even further to create various mouth shapes. Alright, let's go ahead and begin. We'll head over to our Create panel, and let's go ahead and create a plane. Alright, from here, we can go ahead and snap this over to our grid. Great, I'll go ahead and now right-click. I'll press F3 so we can see the plane. I'll also go ahead and press the S key to disable snapping. Very important, we should head over to our Modify panel and check and make sure that we don't have any segments, just one. And that will help waiting go by much faster because now we just have to wait 4 points. Okay, beautiful. What I'd also like to do is maybe change the color of this, since this is a mouth rig. What we could do is go ahead and use a color that would be ideal for that. Something that would also stand out and work with a different shade of red. Something slightly different than what we had before. Alright, beautiful. And this is also helpful so that we can kind of visualize things. It's a good idea to change your color scheme, again, just to help add more clarity to your control rig. Of course, that's not necessary at all, just something I like to do. Alright, but what is necessary is to align this plane over to one of our helpers here. Let's go ahead and start by aligning it to the first helper that we created. For the mouth, we'll go ahead and press Shift A, and we'll now go ahead and click to quick align this over to that first helper at the upper lip. Alright, great. Now, let's say we go ahead and right-click and convert this to an editable poly so we can start to work with its points. I'll grab the Rotate tool. Let's also make sure we have Angle Snap on, and we'll rotate this 90 degrees in our X-axis so it projects towards the face. Alright, great. So now we can go to our Vertex of Object level. We can grab all of those points, and we can now start to scale them down. Alright, great. So we'll find a decent size here. I think this will work very well. So when it comes to weighting this plane, we'd actually weight that totally to our head bone. But the others at the sides will want to start dropping that weight and blending the weight between the head and jaw. But we'll get to that soon. I'll go ahead and press F3 so you can see the size of the plane. Alright, so again, I think that's going to work out just fine. Next, what I'd like to do is just go ahead and start cloning this to each helper. Alright, so let's go ahead and take care of that. If you were to take a look, we actually have about 11 more here that we need to create. So let's say we go ahead and just clone the object. We'll now go ahead and press Shift A, and then we'll go ahead and click on the next helper to move that over to that object. And we'll go ahead and continue that process until we've created planes for each helper. So I'll pause the video and take care of that. Alright, so here are all of our planes. So next, we'll go ahead and grab each of them, and we'll have them stored in our hidden layer. So we'll eventually want to hide these. So with all of them selected, we'll head over to Layers, we'll go ahead and find the hidden layer, and add them. Alright, great. Now since we'll be skinning to these, it's a good idea to go ahead and just reset their X form, clean up their transforms. So we'll do that, and then we'll go ahead and collapse them down to remove the XForm modifier. Alright, so I'll go ahead and make sure all of those are selected, which is collapse, modifier stack result, collapse selected. Alright, nice. So now what we can do is go ahead and rename each of them, and what we'll do here is we'll grab the name of the helper. So I'll just go ahead and copy the name of any one of these, because we'll change the prefix. We'll now go ahead and grab the plane, paste, and change the prefix to GeoDRV, since this is going to drive our helper. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that for the others. Again, we simply grab the helper, copy its name, head over to the plane, paste, and change the prefix to GeoDRV. So I'll pause the video and take care of the others. Okay, so now that each plane has been renamed, it's now time to skin. And again, this is going to be a really straightforward process. The trick is going to be figuring out what each point should be weighted to. So we'll go ahead and walk through that. I actually have some values that work well for me. But as you go through this and as you use this rig, you'll no doubt want to change those values up according to your character and its needs. But you'll have an idea as to how to approach that. So here's how we'll do this. We'll go ahead and grab the first plane right here at the top lip, right in the center. We'll head over to our modify panel, and we'll go ahead and add a skin modifier. Alright, great. Now, we need to go ahead and add the head bone to deform this plane, and only the head bone. So when we get to the plane underneath, the one that's in the center here, we'll want to weight that to the jaw. Alright, so here, let's go ahead and first add the head influence. All we need to do is go ahead and search for bn_head, and there we go. And that's the beauty of working with a solid naming convention. We can find these objects much faster. Now when we click select, it has been added. So, if we were to go ahead and grab the head bone, as we start to kind of move that, you can see how the plane will follow, and that will in turn drive the transformations of our helper. Super cool. Alright, so if we were to head over to the lower lip, with that selected, again we'll go ahead and add our skin modifier. Next, let's go ahead and find the jawbone. So again, we search for bn_jaw. Alright, sweet. Let's go ahead and make sure that we spell that correctly. Didn't add an underscore, added a dash. That's not going to do us any good. Alright, so there's the jawbone. I'll now go ahead and click select, and watch as we take the jaw and move that around. You can see it will now drive the deformations of that plane. Alright, great. Now, how about the corner planes here? Well, these will have a weight between the head and jaw of 50%. So it might be easier to go ahead and weight these next. Let's go ahead and take care of that. I'll grab both of these. No need to add a skin modifier to each separately. We can go ahead and kind of group that. And the same thing goes for the others. So again, with these selected here, we'll now go ahead and add our skin modifier. Alright, great. So from here, we'll go ahead and click on add, and we'll search for bn_head. Click select. And then we'll add one more. That's going to be bn_jaw. We'll now click select. Alright, wonderful. So next, we'd head over to edit envelope mode by either clicking on the skin modifier or by clicking on edit envelopes. Next, we turn on vertices, and all we need to do now is go ahead and grab our top points. So let's go ahead and do a marquee select. So we grab them on both halves. So we should have 4 points selected in total. We can now go ahead and scroll down until we find the weight table. So when we click on the weight table, we can make sure that this is set to not all vertices, but selected vertices. So we are working with the vertices we have in our selection. Next, we'd go ahead and highlight all of our vertices here under the vertex ID column. Now it's just a matter of setting, let's say, the jaw here to 0.5. Alright, wonderful. So now you can see that they're weighted between the head bone and jaw. So what we basically have done here was we said, all right, so this one has a full weighting to the head, so that means we need to redistribute that weight by going to the bone object that had no weighting at all. If we tried to set the head to 0.5, it would not take because it had a full weight. All right, so you can see now we have this nice blend. Let's go ahead and see what this leads to as we start to take the jawbone. As we start to move that around, you can see we have this blending between the head and jaw. Now right now, my pivot mode is set to selection center. I'll switch this back to pivot center just so we can go ahead and take a look at the result. Alright, sweet. So watch what happens then when we take care of our lower points next. We'll go ahead and grab both planes, and next let's head back over to edit envelope mode. We'll go back to our weight table. Here we go. Let's go ahead and select the points we'll need to work with. So those are the lower points. We'll now go ahead and grab the next set of points. And again, we'll go to our jaw, and we'll set our weighting to 0.5. So now watch this. Again, when we go back to our jawbone, as we start to rotate, take a look at the blending we get between the head bone and the jawbone. How cool. Alrighty, so that takes care of our first few planes. This would be a good time to stop the lesson, and in the next lesson we'll finish weighting each of our planes, and then following that we'll learn how to constrain our helpers to follow the deformations of those planes.